Show with Iris. Show with Iris. Show. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State. It's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? It's a poison. I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing. Doing a damn thing. The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Irish. Yeah, that's right. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Irish. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Welcome in, welcome back, folks, to the last show before the long holiday weekend. Get all your ND stress right off your chest. Dial it up. 312-988-15. It's your last chance. It's awkward for me. I'm not used to having this many days off. I got to make sure you guys, it's like every time we do one of these call-in shows, it's like me feeling like we're touching base with the fan base here. Just getting an idea of the vibes. It's the last time before the long weekend. I'm traveling. We're not going to have a live show again until Wednesday. Going to be on the road, and then it's the weekend, and then driving back Monday, and then Tuesday I'll drop an episode Wednesday. So this is going to be your last chance to get it in. We do have a few calls already, and we're going to get to those early. I want people to be able to get their thoughts off here, but before the break. So thank you for being here. I realize it's a weird weekend, people's schedules and all that. So enjoy the break, everybody. Enjoy the break. Next, we have 4th of July. And after you have 4th of July, everybody's mind starts turning to that football calendar, baby. So enjoy the break. Relax over the long weekend. Have some fun with your people. Get some sun if the sun's out where you live, all that. And the other thing is, this always makes me mad on Memorial Day weekend, and I always tweet it, and I'm going to say it here. Take a few minutes out of our selfish lives and think about the meaning of this holiday. It ain't for you to have a 3-day weekend and get wasted and have a barbecue and look at the girls in a bikini at the pool party. I got news for you. That ain't what this holiday's about. So I always say that on this weekend. I'm not trying to be preachy, but people need to take a few minutes at least and really think about the meaning of this holiday and why we have it and how we got it, okay? And the sacrifices that were made. So that's my little speech. I don't want to be that guy, but I put that out on a tweet every year. I'm going to do it again here. Here's the other thing. Mid to late next week, I got a big announcement coming out from this program. So stay tuned for that. I'm sure I'll put together something for it or introduce it somehow. But we're making progress here, you guys, and it wouldn't happen without you and your support. But we got some bigger picture things going on here than just me yelling in my basement and being mad about football. We're starting to get some reach, and none of it would happen without you. And we'll announce the next thing we have going on, and it'll be in July, and it's a big deal to me. So stay tuned for that. Okay. So here's one thing I want to put out. And I'm just going to throw this out. We're going to read the comments that are here, and I'm going to get right to the calls. People might want to be heading out and traveling, whatever. I'm going to get to those calls right away. I'm going to hit a couple of these comments. I'm going to put something out in the ether, but this is an open today. Anything you want to go, any direction you want to go, and whatever. We'll see how it goes. And if everybody leaves early for vacation, we'll shut it down. We'll see how it goes. So the first thing is, I put out the episode yesterday about Freeman holding up his end of the deal. And what I meant by that is elite recruiting was kind of a part of the deal. And at least it was to me. One of the reasons I was more willing to roll with Freeman as the head guy without a bunch of experience, like a guy like Brian Kelly, was I figured if you have elite recruiting, you can backwards engineer this thing with the way this guy talks and moves and his whole MO. If we could get that elite recruiting going, I'm confident Freeman will pick it up from there and we'll be off to the races. I got to have the elite recruiting, though. I have to have it. Okay. And so I was comfortable sacrificing that experience for elite recruiting, and then we run from there. But I got to get it. And it's just got to be a little bit more on the high end than last year's class. And the difficulty with this year's class is right now it sits at number 4 on 247. You and I both know that ain't going to last. It never has. There hasn't been one year where Notre Dame's sitting high in the summer and then they hold it into signing day. That's never happened ever in my existence. So it's sitting at number 4 right now. Feel pretty good about it. But I know damn well it isn't going to stay there. And so that's something that's on my mind. Here's Notre Dame's recruiting under Freeman cannot start out. Here's my fear. This was going to be a casual episode heading into the holiday weekend, and now look at me. Freeman's recruiting approach cannot start out. We're going after all the 4- and 5-star guys we want, and we're going to find out if they're interested. We'll figure out if the grades work later, but we want to get rolling with these top-end guys. And most of the people they're offered are low 4 stars or better and all that stuff and whatever. It cannot start there. Then we have issues with NIL. We have issues with guys leaving us the last minute or the last week to take a bag or whatever the reason is. I don't know that for sure, but whatever it is. And then Freeman gets beat down by those big ticket item losses. And then before you know it, a year or two down the road, I'm hearing more about Marcus Freeman's RKGs. And I'm going to start hearing about how, yeah, this guy doesn't have the frame now and he's a low 3-star, but maybe in 3 years with proper development, his body will turn into something we could get on the field. No. It's going to trigger me. I don't need RKGs. I need MVPs. All right? We did the RKGs, and it was code for guys that aren't highly recruited, and we're trying to sell them to you and pray their body builds up, and then maybe they're good enough to see the field in a couple years. I'm not interested in RKGs. You need MVPs. You're not getting over the hump or winning anything. All right? Okay? That's my fear. And it just can't get watered down little by little. And Freeman gets hit with these big picture recruiting losses and all that. It just can't be that. It can't be that. I'm not open to that. We all had to buy into Kelly telling you the RKG route was the route. Kelly told you to your face, we're shopping down a different aisle. He told you to your face we were shopping down a different aisle and the RKG, and we're going to build this as a unit and build as a group and all that, and we're going to win that way. And it worked only to a certain level. That's the thing. It worked. Kelly's RKG thing got you to where you were pretty much 10 or more wins every year. But nobody was satisfied with that. Kelly wasn't, and we weren't. And so it can't be, I don't want to start reading these articles. And it's like, well, he's a 3-star and the offer sheet isn't that good, but the staff sees something they like with his body and all. No. That's Kelly land. That's Kelly land. All right. And the other issue is, somebody mentioned this in the chat. Also, yeah, very good point, Nick Dean. Good to see you, by the way. Hope you and the wife have a relaxing holiday weekend. You guys deserve it. Wonderful people. Treated me great at the Blue and Gold tailgate. Love you guys. But somebody put in a chat, it's a shame that Freeman's here doing this recruiting after Kelly, and now you have all those NIL games. What would it be like if Freeman was here 5 years ago when that wasn't a thing, recruiting at Notre Dame? That's a big issue. You guys, I'm struggling with that so hard. I'm struggling with that philosophical mindset so hard. Here's where I'm at. And then I promise I'll get to the calls, but I got to get this out. It was bugging me all night. Here's where I'm getting trapped, okay? Where I'm getting stuck is saying, when I was saying I'm fine with Freeman coming in here as long as, number one, he does change the vibe and the feel and it gets more modern and he has that, it's a new vibe, not that stale Kelly stuck up vibe, but a whole new vibe and everything and a new energy around the program. And he's delivered that. He's delivered that. I felt it last year. I felt it at the first blue and gold game, not this one, but the first one the year before when it was his first time running everything. I felt that energy. It was more modern, more open. It just felt like a healthier vibe. We got that part. And then the elite recruiting part. But with NIL and all that, here's the problem I have. I don't know what else I could ask Marcus Freeman to do. Like, look at last year. He had legitimate 5-star talents that had the grades. He had them interested in Notre Dame, committing to Notre Dame and all that, feeling comfortable. And at the last minute, it went bye-bye. It went bye-bye. And that class dipped big time. And it was major guys that all would have started right away and changed everything. It would have been a quarterback, a safety, and a guy that could get after the quarterback. And that's what Notre Dame needs more of. All right. And so, but the issue is, how much more could I ask Freeman to do in that scenario? He identified top talent from good families that had good grades that were interested in Notre Dame, sold them on the mission, got them in the fold, or with Dante allegedly silently, but the other two got them in the fold, and then they left. And I don't know that it's NIL, but whatever it was that strung them away from Notre Dame at the very end, how can I blame Freeman for that? Like, he did the sell job, got those top-level guys to like Notre Dame to the point we got at. I don't know how fair it is for me to blame Freeman. But I have to compare that with me saying at the end of the day, you either got these guys at Notre Dame playing for you or they're playing against you. In that regard, you win or you lose. It doesn't matter that we're playing by different rules. We are playing by different rules. The rules. And the other people aren't. And so I struggle to find an area with that where I could blame Freeman. Some of those guys were committed to Notre Dame a long time. I don't know what else you could have asked Marcus to do to make sure they stayed around. That is the hardest part of this. Hardest part. So maybe, right. Brian Denbo says there's no moral victories in recruiting. I agree with you. But I also, with Kelly, I always knew effort was an issue because everybody who knew what was going on behind the scenes told me effort's an issue. Communication's an issue. Not getting involved early enough is an issue. Not building these relationships is an issue. When guys come for a visit and Kelly acts like he's annoyed that he has to take a few minutes and hang out with them, that's an issue. Okay, when Kelly treats people bad in the football building, all the way down to the secretary, that's an issue. Like, there were all those issues. I don't know what else I could ask Freeman to do, and that's what's hard about this. It's not an effort thing. It's not a lack of communication with him. That's the hardest part of this because I want to hold him to that standard and say this next class has to end up 4, 5, 6, 7, or I'm going to start really getting irritated. But also, I don't know what he could do if it's that kind of problem. What else he could do? So that's where I get trapped on this. But I ain't interested in a recruiting class with more than a couple RKGs. No, that ain't. Kelly sold you that. And you saw that there's no way to get over the top doing that. Now, the other thing is, you want to talk about Al Golden and his recruiting. Al Washington and his recruiting. I've had people reach out to me. Great guy. loyal guy, great dude and all that, but the recruiting's an issue there. I'm just telling you, that's what I've heard from multiple people involved. So I don't know. But is it a situation where now the second year Freeman could back away from like the CEO looking at everything and get more involved on defensive recruiting if he has to, since that's his area of expertise? Like, I don't know. But that's my only point. I believe Marcus is trying his ass off as much as he can. It can't, the years that go by, we get more into the RKG deal, bro. I'm not interested. We already did that and it didn't work. This was supposed to be something different. So if that means Notre Dame needs to get Brady's NIL thing cooking more, whatever it is, I'm not interested in RKGs. You need MVPs. You're not winning anything. You're not. Now, here's a saving grace. I don't want to be negative on a day rolling into a 3-day holiday weekend. Here's a thought. It is possible to me that I am overdoing the dramatics of how upsetting it was what happened last year with the top of the class. And I do not want to speak as though that's a guarantee that that's going to happen every year. That your top guys on your recruiting class, whatever they are, the top few, that they're going to go no matter what, and that what happened last year is going to happen every year. I don't know that. That may be unique to just those kids, their situation, what else was offered, whatever else was involved. I don't know. So maybe that was a one-year thing, and it was just kind of bad luck and bad timing, but it had to be a kick to the gut for Marcus Freeman. Had to be a kick to the gut of Freeman, thinking he had the quarterback figured out and all this eliteness, and it didn't happen. And that class dropped like a freaking rock on signing day, and I don't like it. So I am open to the idea that you keep Williams, you keep Carr, and whatever else you could get here, and those are your guys, and they stick. This will all feel different. But I got to have your top guys stick to know they're going to stick in this new dynamic with NIL that makes me sick. Okay? So maybe you could get through this if those guys do stick around in this class, and then we're off heading in the right direction. All right. That's what I wanted to say about it. I want to know what you think about it. I'm going to do the super chats. Callers, hang in there. I got you. First three up, 567-574-937. I got you. But I got to honor these super chats or I would be doing a bad job here. Bad job. It's a $5 holler from my friend Paul Conley. He helps out every week financially. I appreciate you. Good morning to you, John the Great. To all vets, happy Memorial Day. I just want to celebrate a national title with my kids. I've been saying existentially, my big goal, it would be ideal if my brother and I and my father could all celebrate a title while we're all alive. Just like, am I asking for that much? My dad and his brothers and dad had that a bunch of times. I would just like one time for me and my brother and dad to be able to enjoy Notre Dame and the whole rest of the family and be proud just freaking once. And love the Memorial Day message. Keep in mind what it's all about. It ain't a 3-day weekend for you to barbecue and pass out by the pool wasted. Okay? You could do that too, but make sure you remember what enabled you to do it. That's all. I'm not telling you not to do it. I might be doing some of that myself, but I'm telling you to remember the point of the holiday while you're doing it. Oh, man. All right. Paul also said, John, I enjoyed your article on Brady Quinn and NIL. Good job. You know who else enjoyed that? Brady Quinn. That's how you know you're getting some reach. Once I saw Brady Quinn was retweeting it and putting the wink emoji, kind of like a nod to like maybe this guy's onto something. I got a lot of run on that on USA Today. And the Independence article got a lot of run too. So I hit big this week on USA Today, Fighting Irish Wire. But it was good to see Brady. I liked knowing Brady Quinn saw what I wrote about him and where my mind's at and that he liked it. So if I created a friend there with Brady, good. That's the point. And I enjoyed the run I got off his promotion there. So that was beautiful. Yeah, look at, is Brady Quinn Notre Dame's past and future? And Brady Quinn was like, yeah, with the little wink thing. I just like I like knowing Brady likes my stuff. Let's put it that way. Here's my dad with the glass half empty. I mean, I love you, geez, but god dang. Sorry, Paul, but your kids will be saying the same thing about their kids and on if ND will not make football a priority. It's a tough position to be in. It's a tough position to be in. He always Irish senior's just going to make sure he lives as long as it takes. He's going to be a 212-year-old skeleton just hanging on. I like your avatar, Dad, by the way. The flag with the Leahy gate behind it from the tailgate. That's good work, Pops. Good work. Look at this. Give Freeman the tools to make ND a program to be proud of. I like that. I like that. If they would get out of the way, let him work. Let him work. Pat, happy Memorial Day weekend to you. John and Always Irish family, enjoy the weekend and God bless. Cheers. What a nice message. Mark Holz, we all need to give Freeman a little break. BK didn't have to deal with the NIL at ND. Freeman does, and he's doing a great job. Mark, that's my struggle. You just nailed it. I'm glad you mentioned it. So it's reaffirming that it isn't just in my mind. But Mark, you got to understand when you're doing what I'm doing, and I ride Kelly about the lack of elite recruiting, and then I say Freeman's coming in here, that's going to change. A lot of people are not open to hearing the reasons why. And when I bring up the fact that Freeman has a bunch of challenges that prohibit us from landing those elite guys more than Kelly faced here, nobody wants to hear that. Then it becomes, John, you're a Freeman guy, not a Kelly guy. You're carrying Freeman's water. You're building him a bunch of excuses that you never would have gave Kelly. Even though factually nobody can debate, the whole dynamic's different now with the way NIL is than if Freeman was recruiting for Notre Dame 4 or 5 years ago. No one wants to hear it. So when I bring this up, it turns into you're carrying water for Freeman and you're not a Kelly guy and now you're building in excuses for Freeman. Well, legitimate reasons for things can also be excuses. Like an excuse doesn't mean that it's made up. A legitimate reason of something you're dealing with can also be an excuse of why you didn't get it done, but it doesn't mean it isn't real. But that's what happens when I go down this path. Oh, John, you don't have that same standard for Freeman you had for Kelly. You're carrying his water. And then I end up backed into a corner with that accusation, right? That's what's tricky for me. Domer Guy 88, let's paint the house green. That's his regular message. Let's go, paint it green. I burnt a hole in my foot smoking some chicken with wood pellets. If I knew I was going to get branded, I would have chose something ND related. I like that. I mean, I don't want you to be injured, but I do. Yeah, you should have had a leprechaun burned in there or something. Like a prison tattoo? What do they do? Take like a wire hanger and heat it and brand you in your cell? I don't know. I don't have a lot of experience with the state pen. Phil, good to see you, Phil. There you go. Look at this. There's some positivity. I hope the Logan Thomas commit sticks. That's a step in the right direction for Freeman. And then with Waffle decommitting, somebody put in here what happened with that. I got a bunch of messages saying Notre Dame kind of backed off of him rather than him pulling away from Notre Dame. And I don't know whether that's true or not, but I had a couple people mention that they saw that. And sometimes it's just hard to judge because I don't know whether that's Notre Dame fans kind of putting that out to feel less bad that one of our guys left. Or is that really the case? Because if it's really the case that Notre Dame said, I don't know if we have room for you now, that would seem to indicate to me that they expect better guys at that position to be committing, or they wouldn't do that. Somebody tell me what you're hearing, what it is. I've heard that Notre Dame backed off of him. And the only way that happens to me is if you're expecting better guys to come in the class. So then that's not a negative, but I don't know that for sure. It could be something fans say to just not want to feel like crap that a guy committed and then decommitted. I don't know. BVG should be coach. I can't read that without laughing. If Freeman wins Cincinnati and ND, I'm still going to say Swarbrick needs to pencil neck ass out of South Bend. There's a lot of people who are ready for him to leave South Bend. A lot of them work for the university, but that's neither here nor there. Let's see what Crying Belly himself, the architect of a lot of Notre Dame's problems, let's see what he thinks. I understand there are things holding ND back in recruiting. That's why you don't let go of a 4-star defensive lineman to chase a 5-star guy who's cooling on ND. Where's the awareness from Freeman? Now, that's what I'm getting at, Crying. That's what I'm getting at, Crying. I want to know that dynamic. Andrew Gilmore, John, have you ever analyzed how Michigan beat Ohio State last year? I think they gave us a clear game plan. Cannot expect to win just playing ball control, draining the clock. You need 40-plus points. Yeah, I've thought of that, and I've seen people write about how for as good of an operation as Ohio State is and has been, the way Michigan has approached that game the last 2 years was the perfect formula to be able to compete and beat them. And the other thing is, it's been fairly convincing both these years. Ohio State looked totally out of sorts for both of these recent losses against Michigan. And I wonder if there is a blueprint there and if it's one that Notre Dame can look at and use to their benefit. I get what Andrew's been saying, kind of like, no matter what you're going to do, Ohio State's going to get their yards and points, and they're going to get a bunch of them. And so you need to make sure that you do that too. And then do the other stuff, kind of eating up some time or whatever. But you're going to have to score points to win that game, I think is the idea. Because they're going to get theirs with their talent a certain amount. And so, yeah, you have a good point. A lot of people were saying the way Michigan was built is unique to give Ohio State a hard time. And a lot of the other teams in the Big Ten just aren't going to have enough talent to be able to, even if they structure it right, be able to stress Ohio State enough to get a big win. And Michigan's been able to do it. Andrew, another good point by you. Go figure. Andrew's full of good points. Who else? Mikey Pulls. There you go. What's up, Mikey? That's my bodyguard at the tailgate for Central Michigan. Good morning, John. I saw on Twitter CJ and Cam are heavily trying to get Scott to come to ND. That's what you want to see from your top guys. I love this. Here's why I love this, Mikey. Glad you brought it up. Have a good weekend, buddy. Here's why I like this. It's twofold. Number one is phone calls. I'm getting to you. Don't hang up. I promise. Why I like it is two reasons. Number one is I like that you have some leadership forming in that recruiting class and guys trying to take the lead and recruit other guys. That's a great, great sign of the leadership and effort already before these guys are even at Notre Dame. But here's number two why I like it. I like feeling like this reaffirms to me that these two guys are fully invested in Notre Dame. Because if I'm CJ Carr and I'm Williams and people are offering me money and NIL and everything, and I am starting to think, I don't know if I'm committed to Notre Dame, but I don't know if I'm all in now. These other offers seem good. If that's the dynamic, I don't think you would see this kind of effort from these guys recruiting other guys. So some of it is comfort for my own brain to feel like if these guys are invested, and it gives me a reassurance that they're not about to bounce or they're having second thoughts, because I don't think you do this kind of Notre Dame promotion and recruiting on your own social media unless you know you're going to Notre Dame. Maybe I'm wrong, but the way my recruiting Notre Dame elite scar tissue is, anything positive I could grab onto, I'm going to, and that's one angle. That's one angle. Who else we got? Domer guys, always here. Good to see you. Pat, what do you got? I have a jam day at work, of course, right before the holiday. Just jump on, give John a thumbs up. Everybody, please remember the point of this holiday. Yeah, that's what I've been saying as well. And I know Pat might be saying that, but he either already played golf or he's going to play golf. There's no way I believe golf's not involved somewhere here for Pat. Angela Rudiger just got the kids packed in the car to head to the lake. You guys better keep me entertained on my drive. I'm trying. Don't drive off the road reacting to anything I say. Tex ND. Good to see you. What do we got? John, ready for some ND football talk with always Irish fam and a long Memorial Day weekend. Yep, it's a good start. Good start to the weekend. All right, we're getting caught up here, getting to the calls. There we go. We got a $20 holler from Adam Dowling. Thank you, my friend. Does it bother anybody else that it's possible there might be more Notre Dame fans in Ireland than Notre Dame Stadium on September 23rd? What did they say? There's like 40,000 people. What is that the number that are going out to Ireland? And that trip's not cheap, by the way, especially if you do it right. I mean, even if we say it's 40,000, I'm not giving Ohio State that many people. The only way, here's what I've decided. If Notre Dame is undefeated leading into Ohio State, Notre Dame's going to have a home field advantage, but a little more red than I like, only because it's a Midwest team, a team that usually doesn't play at our place, and they're right down the toll road, all right? If Notre Dame's undefeated, that's it. We're going to have the home field advantage. It'll be obvious, but there's going to be a few more areas of red that I'm going to like, okay? The danger zone is if Notre Dame drops a game before Ohio State, it is uh-oh time. I know how fickle Notre Dame people are. If we lose a game before Ohio State, that's where the sea of red happens, and you're going to have a real issue. I'm telling you right damn now, Notre Dame has got to be undefeated for this all to feel and fit right leading into Ohio State week. Any loss to anybody for any reason, and I guarantee you, they're going to be selling them tickets to red. Notre Dame people are going to be mad. They're not going to care who the tickets go to. The red team's going to pick them all up. And then you got a nightmare. So the key to all this is making sure we're all Ohio State, Ohio State, Ohio State. You got to win the 4 games leading up to Ohio State. Got to win them. No exceptions. It's the only way it could go. It can go no other way. We got another $10 holla. Maybe we need to copy the Clemson model. Top 13 class with an elite QB. Adam, you're onto something else very intelligent. Something I've spoken about in this program many times. And what I said is, when you look at the last 10 or 12 years of national champions, the model Notre Dame could most closely replicate to get there is the Clemson model. As far as how the team was built and the recruiting, this is the closest to Notre Dame you're going to get is the way Clemson did it. And it was not number 3 classes stacked up, well-rounded, but number 3, number 4, number 3, 3 years in a row, and that's the elite of the elite. It was more 10 or 12-ish range, but you got the number 1 quarterback, all right? Like, if you're going to have top 12 or 10 classes, but you're going to give me Lawrence as the quarterback, now I'm cooking. I can make that work. But it can't be number 12, and you don't have a star quarterback, the most important position in all sports. So there is a path to getting it there that way, but you got to have literally like the best player at the most important position. How likely is it Notre Dame has that? I don't know. Maybe CJ Carr develops into that. I don't know. But Adam, you are correct. By far, the most similar model of building that is Clemson. Out of all the teams that have won it recently, that's the one. And you're on the right idea there. See, crying belly saying, yeah, it's easy, Adam. Just get Trevor Lawrence on your team. I'm just telling you, that's the other path. If you're not getting, crying belly, then I'll go, well, the other way might be harder to land a bunch of guys and have a top 3 class. What's harder for Notre Dame in the modern NIL era? Landing a legitimate top 3 or 4 class, or getting one of the very, very elite quarterbacks to buy in? I think it's easier to land that one guy than to get enough 4 and 5 stars that we end up at number 3 or number 4. Not freaking now. Not now. Not 4th of July and I'm lighting a bottle rocket off celebrating we're second in recruiting on signing day night, damn it. I am really sick of Notre Dame being up there all summer. I'm excited like an idiot. And then on signing day, when it matters, I got to keep scrolling to find where Notre Dame is on the recruiting rankings. Wear out my mouse, scrolling down, trying to find where we are. Find a way to stay up there. You like that voice squeak? It's been a long week. Man, this is fun. I like being with you guys. TJ, I'm coming to the phones, I promise. We're almost caught up. TJ Kreider, anybody hearing anything regarding the broadcast crew? 2 massive games at home. I hope they get our act together and put a polished product on TV. The green out should help against Ohio State. I don't know what they're going to do. I haven't heard that anything's going to be different. It insults me a little bit that you think you could throw a Collinsworth out there and that I'm not going to notice it isn't dad. And then I'm going to go, oh, but he went to Notre Dame, so now I automatically love it no matter how good he is at the job. No. Like, NBC thinks we're clowns. They think we're punks. They give you a Collinsworth, but it ain't the good one, the polished one, the worldwide known guy. It ain't that one. It's his kid. And then they figured, oh, he went to Notre Dame, so they're all going to love him no matter what. No, it doesn't work that way. Make the games feel like a big damn deal. Make me feel like something important's happening. Bring back the old dramatic introductions that CBS and NBC used to have. Make it feel big. $2 holler. More NIL, more steroids, more strippers. Let's go. I don't believe Notre Dame's going down that path soon. It does make for a wild weekend, but I don't think like a weekend out on the town, but I don't think that's the way Notre Dame's going. Oh, man. Michael Campbell, what's going on, buddy? Michigan has more 3-stars recruited than Notre Dame, and it's positive coverage all over college football right now. Well, that's the Michigan thing. I even saw a list, Michael, that had their schedule ranked in the top 20 toughest in the land this year. Like, it's a Michigan thing and whatever, and they're like a pet love for the national media and all that. But once I saw a list that had them on the list of toughest schedules, everybody's in the bag for Michigan, and the schedule this year could not be easier. They do not play a game till November 11th against Penn State. Then they have Ohio State after it. Michigan should be rolling this year. It is a high school schedule. Michigan State's a rivalry game, but they are tanking hard. All right, so I don't expect that to be a game. They don't play their first game till November 11th. So we're all going to hate it, but unless something really dumb happens, Michigan's going to be sitting pretty. They are just not going to be challenged. It's unfortunate. I wish the Big Ten didn't have this many lame teams. We got a $5 holla. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend, John. Looking forward to hanging out with all you guys again. Oh, for sure. Big things coming for that Central Michigan tailgate. We got a bunch of people involved. It looks like the USA Today Fighting Irish Wire folks. Nick Shepkowski might come for that. We're going to have a blowout, folks. We're going to have a blowout. Who's saying what? Crying belly. I already read some of your comments. You don't get every single one read when I'm trying to breeze through them and then go get to the calls. Like, I already mentioned you multiple times and pointed out stuff you said. I'm not reading. I cannot read every single thing every single person types in here. Like, I just can't do it. Josh Miller. John, please explain to these guys. Freeman can't be out recruiting until July 1st. A lot of people are saying he's on vacation. I've heard that he's on a month-long vacation. And I laugh at it because the one thing I'm never going to let anybody do is tell me Freeman's not working hard enough. If you want to argue the result or whatever, you can do that all day. But I refuse to accept any debate that starts with, what's Freeman doing? He's not trying hard enough. No. Nope. Not listening to it. Not doing it. Michael Freeman, elite recruiting has 2 5-stars in the class, right? You are talking to people who don't care that it exists. So are they lying to you in real time? No, the argument is we had 5-stars in the class last year too. Land them. I think that's the worry. Just saying we're in the summer. We have these 5-stars. I'm counting them wearing gold helmets. I can't do that anymore. I can't. Look at what happened last year. It's irresponsible. I cannot do that. I cannot assume those guys are going here. Look at last year with the 5-stars. So I'm hopeful they stay. But until they do, it's on my radar that we're going to get burned again. It's responsible to have that worry after what happened last year. If both those guys stay in the class, beautiful. Then you could kind of wipe out one on the plus end this year, one on the minus end last year, and they could kind of wash out. And then we're on even footing. But until they sign the sheet, I cannot count them in it, Notre Dame. I can't do it. Can't do it. All right, we're getting caught up here. $10 holler, baby. Keep up the good work, John. Don't stroke out on, not strike out, strike 3. Don't stroke out on us. I'm going to save the strokes for the regular season. How about that? I'm going to try and keep it chilled, but the regular season, and we'll be off to the races with the strokes. James Dowling, no way to keep the suck eyes from invading South Bend. Before digital tickets, we had a chance. In the StubHub era, we'll be lucky to see a 60-40 split. It's got to be better than that. It's got to be a better ratio than that. It truly does. $5 holler, and then we're caught up. We're going to the phones. Beating OSU won't mean as much if they end up losing to Michigan. The talking heads will have a heyday saying ND's win was a down year for OSU. Dirty Mike, I appreciate the $5 holler. Let's think about this. If the scenario you're going over occurred, we won't know that till the end of the year because Ohio State and Michigan play each other last. So there's all that time between us beating OSU and then what we do with that momentum up until the conclusion of Michigan-Ohio State. If Notre Dame beats Ohio State and then ends up with 1 or no losses, for example, it isn't going to matter what anybody says if Ohio State loses to Michigan. Notre Dame will have control over that narrative. If you beat Ohio State and Notre Dame ends up, say, 11-1 with the loss to Clemson or USC, but if they're 11-1, even if Michigan beats Ohio State, Notre Dame's going to have a claim of an 11-1 year or a pretty good year. I'm figuring if Notre Dame beats Ohio State, they're going to have a damn good year all the way through. So at that point, you may have insulated yourself from that narrative to an extent because an 11-1 Notre Dame with this schedule is going to stand alone pretty tough. The tougher dynamic is Notre Dame beats Ohio State. They're doing really good. Michigan beats Ohio State for a 3rd time in a row. They want to run Ryan Day out of town. He goes to the NFL. Then they call Marcus and they say, we'll give you NIL, no academic restrictions, recruit whoever you want, come back home and win, and we won't hold you back like Notre Dame does. How do you like that as a nightmare scenario? That the best thing that could happen to Notre Dame is the worst. You beat Ohio State, then Michigan beats them for the 3rd time in a row, and then they come calling for your guy because they want to run Ryan Day out of town and he's sick of dealing with it. You want to talk about a scenario, a Notre Dame scenario, the ultimate Notre Dame scenario. We do something good and it burns us. That's the ultimate Notre Dame scenario. Beat an elite team like Ohio State, then they want your coach. So what you need to happen is Notre Dame to beat Ohio State, and then Ohio State to find a way to beat Michigan this year. Then Notre Dame gets full credit on everything, and that hopefully would eliminate some of the heat on Ryan Day. And then that cools down my biggest nightmare scenario. So I don't know. It's wild. $5 holler again by Cody. Appreciate it. Michigan at Nebraska might be a trap game. All right. I just think the talent difference is big. I just think, I don't know. John Freeman is failing on all fronts. It's not that dramatic. I know I'm dramatic. It's not. No, he is not. It's fine. Deb Thomas, John, no strokes allowed. Enjoy your time off and go hold your new nephew. Yeah, it's, thank you for that. I appreciate that. We're not going to Florida till June, and then we'll see. I'll meet my younger namesake, Johnny boy there in June. It'll be Louisville this week. I got some relatives there. Nice pool, relax a little bit. All right, we're caught up. 5, 6, 7, you're on the air. Sorry I made you wait.
Oh, it's all good, John. Domer guy here, by the way.
Oh, what's up, man? I appreciate your messaging daily. Okay, it is needed, and I want you to keep doing that.
You don't have to worry about that. I for sure will, man. I'm sick of the red.
Yeah. What's on your mind, man? I covered a lot. Go ahead. What's on your mind?
FDR was president. The number one song was "Pennies from Heaven," Bing Crosby. How to Become a Detective was the number one movie. The Minnesota Golden Gophers finished the season number one. And by the way, you know what else happened in 1936? That was the last time Notre Dame beat Ohio State.
Yep. 1936.
Irish Nation, let's wear some green on September 23rd. Our boys need you. We wear green, we win that game. If it's a red takeover, we lose that game. I truly believe the crowd is going to be the difference in that ball game.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right. But
you imagine this? Can you imagine this? I've said this before in your chat. I see a lot of similarities of the Ohio State game this year and the Miami Hurricanes game in '88. I get that it was Catholics versus convicts in the '88 game, but hear me out here. This is Marcus Freeman's second year. He went 9-4 last year. If you can remember, Lou Holtz's first 2 seasons, he didn't do so hot. He did okay in his second year. I think he had a losing record in his first season. In his second season, I think he went 8-4. Then '88 season happens. Miami comes in. We beat them. What does that do? That propelled the program and the Lou Holtz era.
Yeah.
Did it not?
Yep, certainly did.
That can be the same thing for Marcus Freeman.
Yeah, and it would. The other thing is, we're talking about this recruiting class, tying it in. It runs into the season next year. You knock off Ohio State, it can only help recruiting and your image and all that. Like, I don't want to put too much weight on this, but it's a demarcation point.
You said it helps recruiting. It helps Marcus Freeman. It helps Notre Dame. You just mentioned prior to taking the phone call, your worst nightmare is us beating Ohio State and Ohio State losing to Michigan. Ohio State, Gene Smith calls for Marcus Freeman.
Well, my worst nightmare is us losing, because then I'm miserable no matter what happens. So my second to worst nightmare is we win and then they want them.
I hear you.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But let's say we beat Ohio State, okay? And let's say Ohio State loses to Michigan too, okay? And Ryan Day is on the hot seat. Gene Smith's looking at Marcus Freeman, okay? Let's say we beat Clemson and we beat USC, or even if we lose one of those games. Let's say we finish 11-1, 12-0. Let's say Notre Dame wins a national title because that Ohio State game could propel the program. If we beat Ohio State, we are going to be a good team this year.
Should be.
And when I mean good, I mean national title bound good. I don't know if we're going to win it, but I think that we have a playoff bound good, okay? So let's say Notre Dame hypothetically wins a natty, okay? And Gene Smith wants to call Marcus Freeman after Ohio State loses to us in Michigan. What would Marcus Freeman do then?
I don't know, but it'd be a good spot to be in. I'll tell you that. I don't know, but it'd be a really good spot to be in. All right, let me ask this. Here's what I don't know. And nobody knows this. And I try and get information on this, and it's hard. Here's what I genuinely don't know. I want to know Marcus's mind as far as Notre Dame and them supporting him and the administration. I would like to be in Freeman's mind to know if there's ever moments where he's frustrated with the academics and the undergrad transfer restrictions and Notre Dame not being able to be more public with NIL. I would love to know if Marcus feels those constraints personally, or if he's cool with them and he already built those in the mix and is working around them and over them and knows that he has these challenges. I don't know where his mind is as far as those items go. I still don't know what he might think about Ludwig. And if he wanted him and they had an issue there, I don't know the backstory. I still don't know all the facts on that. But like, a lot of this depends on how Marcus feels he's being treated here and what he's allowed to do or not. And I don't have those answers. The question you asked, I need to know where his mind is on all the things I just said for me to answer that. I don't know where his mind is on it.
So even if his mind was in frustration because the way administration ties your hand behind your back at Notre Dame, even if he is frustrated, hypothetically, let's say they win a natty this year, is he going to walk away and go to Ohio State after winning a national championship at Notre Dame?
I'm going to tell you right now, if they win a national championship this year, I don't know what happens, but I'm going to life goal achieved for me. And then it would suck to lose it, but at least I got one. I mean, we're dealing with an extreme scenario.
I don't think it's going to happen. But it at least
that's the most extreme. That is the most extreme scenario.
Could lose to us, and they could lose to Michigan. And I do think, for some reason, Ryan Day is on the hot seat, even though he's only lost 5 games in 5 seasons. I guess they got a pretty good standard over there at Ohio State. I wish we had the same standard, but that's neither here nor there. If that were to happen, how could he walk away?
Yeah.
He wouldn't be able to. I don't think.
But we're dealing with 0.001% likelihood on that extreme of a level. Because you're talking about.
Hey man, I'm really, really, really starting to believe in Sam Hartman. I was very skeptical the past couple weeks. I've really been watching the guy, and I mean, like you always say, he is at least going to be a huge upgrade from what we've had, even with Ian Book. And he's the winningest quarterback in Notre Dame history. Nothing against Ian Book.
Yeah.
I love the guy.
Yeah. Everything.
But he is at least going to be a step above every quarterback we've had.
You know what? Ian Book's
in a long time.
Ian Book's the most winningest quarterback in Notre Dame history, in the same way Kelly's the most winningest coach. They won a lot, but it never added up to one trophy anyone in the world cares about. It's the most frustrating thing because I can't tell. Kelly won all those games. Book won all those games. I can't help but notice at the end of the year, there was never one thing anybody valued. Not one time with either of them. They can have those records all they want. You didn't win anything anyone cares about, and that's an issue.
I think any true Notre Dame fan would say the exact same thing that you just said.
I mean, it's frustrating. Who won? Who's more winningest? Frank Leahy or Brian Kelly? Brian Kelly won more regular season games, sure, but Frank Leahy has a handful of titles and Heismans and a World War victory under his belt. You tell me who's more winningest, right?
Look, I don't put anything into Brian Kelly being the winningest coach in Notre Dame history. As far as I'm concerned, the 2012 wins that were vacated still count in my mind.
Yeah.
So I count that against Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
So I truly don't believe he's the winningest football coach in Notre Dame history.
And if you want to say he's the winningest,
and he's also the losingest.
He's also the most.
You don't just walk away from that.
Oh yeah, you do. For all that money and free reign at LSU to get all the talent you want with no restrictions. Oh yeah, you can. For about $100 million, you could do it. But I don't listen, man. I want Marcus to succeed at Notre Dame. I don't want this to be a thing where he learns how to be a great head coach here, and then it really takes off at the next spot. I just want Notre Dame to support him to the point where he could reach his potential with us and do that here. I just want that to happen. Marcus is so genuine and he's working so hard. I want to see it pay off here, not somewhere else, Ohio State or anywhere else. I want it to work here.
I just hope that the administration, he doesn't get sick of it, because we don't change. The administration doesn't change. Head coaches change, but
the
administration stays the same.
Yeah, you're right.
The rules stay the same.
Yep.
It is what it is. And I just hope that he wins. And I think this Ohio State game this year could propel the Marcus Freeman era in a very positive way.
Yeah. Now let me ask you a very, very difficult question. This is going to be very difficult. Ignore that beep. Somebody's calling me, and I'm not answering it.
Okay.
Answer this. What is the storyline going to be if Notre Dame plays Ohio State close and loses? What is the storyline then?
Well, it kind of determines.
That's a tough spot,
on what
bro.
Else happens throughout the season. Are we 11-1 when we lose a close game to Ohio State? Are we 10-2? Are we 8-4?
Well, I don't know.
It all depends.
But wait, no, it doesn't. When I do my post-game show and Notre Dame plays them tough and loses by 6 points or something, what's the narrative then? I'm not talking about.
You're saying directly after the game.
Yeah, because then you're going. You got to beat Ohio State. You got to beat Ohio State. What if they play them close and it's a good competitive game, but we come up short? That is a very awkward position because then it's still a loss. But people are going to say, well, it was competitive, whatever. But we didn't sign up for that. We need you to get over the hump. That's going to be an awkward dynamic. A very close loss makes those narratives very tricky.
Not for me. It don't. There's no more moral victories. Notre Dame hasn't won a big game since '93.
Yeah.
I mean, since the Lou Holtz area, and Lou is even questionable for having. I'm going to get into this in a little bit with you, but Lou's era is even questionable for being a dominant dynasty in Notre Dame history. Which like I said, I'm going to elaborate on that in a little bit. But '93, John. We don't win big games.
Yep.
No more moral victories. You went out and got Sam Hartman for a reason.
Yep.
He went out and got Sam Hartman because this is the national championship year. All his chips are on the table. The thing that I worry about with that is I don't think we have the pieces around Hartman to be national championship caliber.
Yeah, well,
particularly on the D-line and safety.
That's what I was going to ask. I was going to say, of all my worries about this team, I don't think Sam Hartman's not on my list of worries. My position is whatever you're going to get out of him, even if it is an Heisman level, is going to be way more effective and efficient and capable of more than what we're used to. That's an upgrade. I'm worried about some other stuff. What does that defense look like? Are they going to be able to get some pressure? I want to see that defense against Ohio State, and that's going to indicate to me what's really possible.
Like a little bit ago, I told you I was starting to feel better and better about Sam Hartman. And I don't know what it is, but I've been feeling better and better about our D-line and our safety position. For some reason, I think Xavier Watts is going to play really well this season. I think Watts is going to play out of his head.
Yeah, and you know what else?
And
you
I
need
think
him. That's the other thing, dude. You need him to do that, and you need him to be healthy back there, and you need him use those ball skills you had when you're on the other side of the ball. Get up once the ball's in the air, go and get it.
He stood out to me the past couple of years.
Once the ball's in the air, go and get it. I don't. And then the transfer guy, Carter, that's a big deal too. That guy's going to play an important role.
Depth is definitely an issue.
Yeah.
And I think the D-line is going to do just enough to hold up. I think we're going to be able to get pressure with our ends. I think our ends are in a better position than our D tackles. But I think we're going to be able to do just enough to. I've been thinking between 8-4 and 10-2 all season, man. But if we get that Ohio State win, that changes everything for me.
Yeah,
as far as
it does.
goes.
It changes.
If we can get that Ohio State win, it's 11-1, 12-0.
It's like a different. It kind of just shoots you into a different level. You know what I mean? Like it instantly puts you on a different radar if you're able to get that game. And I don't care. People are saying, Ohio State's going to have a down year or whatever. They can do that as long as we start it. They can go down all they want as long as we start it and we're a part of it. But let's be us, the ones that put the blood in the water for everybody else to know you can get these guys. But let us do it first, damn it.
It helps everything. Recruiting. It helps with this season's objective of being 11-1, 12-0. It helps with the ratings. Imagine Sam Hartman goes out there the first 5 games and plays out of his head, and is on the short list for the Heisman. You don't think NBC is going to want to promote that?
Yeah. Yep. Nope. I just don't. It's wild to me, the buildup for this Ohio State game already. Every day on this show, no matter what the topic is, this comes up. It is that big of a deal. It's circled on the calendar
John,
already.
It's Marcus Freeman's second season. We have a new head coach. It's the biggest game that Notre Dame's had in the past 20 years, easy, in my mind, because of the new coach. I know it's his second year, but in order for Marcus Freeman to get where he needs to be to make Notre Dame legitimate and at that elite level we all want him to be at, as far as recruiting, even with the administration tying his hand behind his back, he needs this game.
Yeah,
he needs this game.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? I think Clemson provided a little bit of that juice, but it was still a different situation. And we had a bunch of losses, so nothing nationally was on the line for us. But they were still undefeated in the top 4. That gave me some hope that there's a different gear here. And I know Clemson had issues. They were extremely flawed last year, especially offensively. They had major problems. But they were cruising for a bruising, and we gave them a bruising. And like, I saw that there's that gear where you could do that at your place. We need it again, man. Get off to a good start against Ohio State, and that crowd will get real loud. That's where you're cooking. Get off to a good start. Make a play early and get that crowd into it, and they're green.
Heck yeah, baby. Before you took my call, I heard you say something about how you think as long as we go 4-0 that the crowd's going to be in favor of Notre Dame. You said
I do.
You think you're still going to see a little bit more red than you would like.
That would be my guess.
To me, I'm going to be selfish. That's unacceptable. That is unacceptable. When you watched the Ohio State game last year, did you see any green in their stadium?
Yeah, barely none. Barely.
Why can't we do that for our guys then? If I'm Marcus Freeman, I'm putting that on a screen and I'm saying, look at this. Or why can't Notre Dame's social media team make a hype video for the fans to wear green? I don't know when they would start that, but they need to do something because it's a problem that needs addressed. Andrew Gilmore brought up a good point the other day about star power, and I think he's on to something with that. I don't know if that would help 100%, but I don't think people play to see offensive linemen and tight ends play. I think they need another Rocket or need an exciting tailback to watch, or Sam Hartman. Sam Hartman could be that guy. Greathouse could be that guy.
Yeah.
Tyree could be that guy. So
yeah, man,
there was no green in their stadium. I don't want to see 20,000 Ohio State fans in the stadium.
Yeah.
I think their allowance for opposing teams is $8,000.
Yeah, it's $8,000.
That's what I want it to be.
Man,
anything more than that is unacceptable.
I'm telling you, you know how I am. I get into South Bend and I run my mouth. I have a couple beers and I'm running my mouth. And I was talking to the Clemson people Friday. We went to one of them bars on Eddy Street for lunch and a drink. And there's a bunch of orange in there. You know me, I drink a little bit and I start talking to people. Every one of them said, this is a bucket list destination. We're going to pay whatever it takes to get here. We wanted to come during.
There's a difference between a bucket list destination and having 50,000 Georgia fans in your stadium.
I guess.
That's a huge difference.
I guess. I think if Notre Dame's undefeated, Notre Dame people hold on to them. But I don't know what you do about that problem, man. Is some of the reason that Notre Dame's fan base is not geographical, and so you don't have that big bulk of season ticket holders that live within an hour or two like most schools, because Notre Dame's so spread out with the alumni. Maybe that's a part of it, that everybody has to travel. Like, it's just harder. It's not U of I where everybody that loves them lives within an hour and they drive to Illinois that day. Like, maybe that's a part of the challenge too, is that we're so spread out. It's just harder for people to get there every week. I'm not making excuses. I'm trying to find reasons.
Get rid of your season tickets. Stop buying them and give it to somebody else that lives closer.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have them.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have them.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. And it's Ohio State. It's not like it's Central Michigan or Tennessee State and you're 4-0. It's the biggest game of the year, arguably, on your schedule.
Yeah.
So if you live in California, Florida, Oregon, Washington, whatever, it's Ohio State. Get your asses out to the stadium and support your guys.
Yeah. And I don't know, man. It's been a problem. Maybe this could be a change here. Maybe you wear the green. It's a beautiful night. We play good. The energy's good. And we start a new trend with that. I don't know, man, but I'm with you.
Hey,
but the biggest thing is, Notre Dame, the biggest point of all this is Notre Dame has to be 4-0 for any of the stuff we just talked about to matter before we even get there. That I'm never going to forget about that point. That is the number one thing. Because that's how you get to see a red is coming in there with the loss. I don't care who it's to.
Dr.
Any
John's
loss.
probably having a heart attack right now.
I'm telling you, you just got to make sure you take care of that first. I'm not letting us get out of ourselves. I won't do it. Although I do it every day, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Hey, listen, man. I want you to wear green this weekend. Have a couple drinks. Get in the mood. Wear green around the holiday weekend to get it going. How about that?
Heck yeah. Yeah, and we're actually leaving on a family vacation tomorrow. We're going down to Florida for a week, so I'll definitely be doing that.
Beautiful, man. Get away. I'm doing that in a few weeks too, and it's like the last trip before we cycle back into football season. Get away from it a little bit. Try and relax and enjoy yourself. Thank you for your passion. Thanks for the chats. Thanks for the call, man. Safe travels to Florida.
I appreciate it, John. Thanks for everything you do, brother.
No problem. Have a good one. Man, I love that guy's passion for all this. It's beautiful. 574, give me some more. Happy Friday.
Hey, how's it going, man? Golden Playbook.
What's going on, Golden Playbook? You want to see Notre Dame? Are we going to show up and wear green, or are we going to let Ohio State take over our place?
Well, I hope that doesn't happen, which I don't think it will this year.
And why are you saying that? But why are you saying you don't think it will happen? I'm just wondering where your mind's at. You just think the build-up's so big, the weather will be good, Notre Dame will be undefeated, we'll hold on to our tickets? Why do you think that?
I think if we go undefeated going into that game, I don't think we're gonna let that happen this time. Hopefully we don't see that, but I think as long as we're undefeated going into that game and we don't lose,
that's what I think.
We have the momentum.
Yeah, that I agree with that. And that is a key. It's just such a big arrow. Like the Ohio State, it's just jumping out on the schedule as a big arrow of up or down for Notre Dame. And it's such a big measuring stick of where we're at. Are we overdoing this game? I know that's kind of my job doing media and entertainment to try and make everything a big deal. Are we overdoing it, or is it as big of a deal as it feels to you?
I think it's a big deal because, last year, we played them first game, but this year we kind of get, a little warm up before. So it's I think it's a really big deal this year because it's our fifth game. And also as long as we go undefeated, we have the momentum, especially if the crowd is pumping in the Clemson game.
Yeah.
We need more of that.
Hey, you know what, too? I'm going to say this. It's, I thought the crowd was great for Clemson. We were loud. I ripped Notre Dame's crowd a lot of times. It was loud in there that night. And the weather wasn't pleasant and warm. Usually that quiets our crowd down. I thought we were loud. I liked it. So I thought our crowd was good that night. We were loud the whole time. And the Clemson people never had anything to cheer about all night. It was great. The crowd was great that night. Into it and loud. I had no complaints that night.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, man. That crowd was just so electric. It was just so awesome to see. And as long as we do that in the Ohio State game, I think we're going to have home field advantage. If, of course, we go undefeated, we got to avoid losing to Central Michigan and Tennessee State. We can't let that happen.
What about
like
NC State? I think NC State might be the tricky one. That little away trip before you come home for Central Michigan. That's one where that could be a tough, ugly ball game in the middle of the afternoon or whatever. You got to find a way to win them.
Yeah, I just say it's like the Tennessee State, obviously the NC State too, but like the Central Michigan and the Tennessee State, the SCS teams, they kind of remind me. I just don't want it to happen where we lose again, like we did Marshall. Like we can't let that happen.
Yeah, those need to be done. I don't care who gets injured or what happens. Those have to be done. Like if you want to say Freeman, it's year one, a lot of moving parts, a lot of instability, like figuring it out. Okay, fine. You got that leeway year one. You don't have a year two. Notre Dame cannot afford. Every one of these 12 games is worth their weight in gold. You cannot throw one or two down the crapper playing teams you have no business losing to. You can't do it. That all has to be over.
Yeah. Do I think it's going to happen? I mean, no. I don't think so, but I'm not going to say for sure right now. I got to see first, but I think Marcus Freeman learned from last year, And I would Sam Hartman.
I would hope so, man. That's one big thing that I've been saying. One of the themes about year two is year one, Marcus had to go off instinct on a lot of things. He got the job. Everything moved fast. There was a million responsibilities and obligations he had to tend to leading into that first year, and it was all kind of a whirlwind. Get a sense of the roster and what he wants to do and where we're at. Year two is that calibration. And I want to see the differences, see these changes, see a new way to do it. Another year removed from Kelly. Like this is a big year for that calibration. And then the year after it, the new playoff format starts. And that's a new, big, important dynamic. This year is critical. You got to get this arrow pointing up, baby.
Yeah. And I just wanted to talk about real quick. I think it was on Saturday night, that one caller when he was basically bashing Marcus Freeman and blaming him for the roster and all that. Like, that's not his problem. Like, Brian Kelly caused that problem.
Well, wait.
Marcus
Freeman
is trying to flip the roster.
It is Marcus's problem. He just didn't create it. Those are different things. It's certainly Marcus's problem.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, it's his problem, but he isn't the architect of the problem. The architect of the problem on the roster is in the bayou somewhere eating gumbo today.
Yeah.
Or golfing. Yeah, he's probably golfing on a nice weekend like this. He's probably golfing. Kelly is.
Yeah.
All right. Now, wait. Let me ask this then. Let me ask you this then. How do you feel about Marcus's recruiting? Are you satisfied with the results? You need to see a little more high end, have the class end near the top 5 this cycle. Where are you at on the recruiting wing of this?
I'm it's looking pretty good for the most part, but it was kind of disappointing that he wasn't able to land the top, the 5-star.
Yeah, it took a lot of positivity out of that class. It was a big gut punch, man. I am used to us struggling on actual signing day with the half flippers and everybody we're not involved in on the top end. I expect some droppage. It was downright depressing to see where we were at end of the summer. And then on signing day, it's just upsetting.
Yeah. Do I think he could land him? I think so. But it's not going to be easy, because I know Notre Dame is probably, I don't know if it's that. Do you think it's academics? I mean, I think it could be the academics, but to get players in there easily.
The people that care the most, that have the most power, do not really value the football success. And that is just from my experience and the people I know that have access to that room. Most of them are billionaires on that board. They live in a different bubble, a different world. Not the one a regular person like me lives in. and they value the image of the academics and all of that. And I really don't think it matters to them. 9-3, 10-2, 8-4. I do not feel like it's a big deal to them. And they just don't value it the way we value it.
Yeah. I kind of felt that way too, you know?
I mean, I'll give you an example. They didn't, years ago, the football team went to them and said, we need to do a training table and like our own kind of cafeteria thing for the football guys to eat so they could get enough calories to build their bodies with the right foods the right way. And we really need to have that set up just for football because of their body types. And that caloric intake is so important to get them where they need to be with the right foods. And the university fought that for years, saying that separates them from the general students. We want them eating in the same cafeterias and we're not doing it. That is a perfect example of something completely reasonable with science backing it, and they wouldn't do it because they felt like, well, then they're not with the regular students. Then we're giving preferential treatment to football. We're not doing that. That was a battle fought for years and years and years. And all that is medical science was telling them you have to do this to compete. They fought that. Everything at Notre Dame's harder than it has to be.
Yes. And I always felt like they never really utilized like football that much. Like, and it's like their biggest sport.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's their biggest revenue maker.
They need to build more facilities.
Yeah, that's on my list of things I yell about every day too. I just yelled about it 2 days ago. Look at my YouTube, go to the shorts, and you'll see me. It says, I agree with Brian Kelly on something. It's me yelling about the facilities and me wanting some more. And then Adam Dowling has a good point, $5 holler. Thanks, Adam. You could judge Freeman's roster when these freshmen are juniors. And I do agree with that. He's doing it a different way. I do want to see what this roster looks like in a couple, 3 years.
Yeah. I just wanted to talk about like the conference thing too.
Yeah, what do you make of that? Hey, 937, I got you next, then 512. Stay tuned.
So I just think that I agree with you. Like, I feel like we should probably, it would be nice to stay independent and be able to win a national title. But if we have to join the Big Ten and it's going to help us, then I guess I don't really mind. But I'd much rather be independent, and win a natty, because that makes us
look
better.
It's our way. It's showing that you can do it. Yeah, our way in the modern era would be my preference, would be find a way to time it all up right, have some good breaks, good talent, great, it all works out. That would make me the happiest if you were able to do that and do it our way and survive in the modern era and rise to the top. But if you must feel you're forced to do something, that Big Ten thing would be a good deal. I think it would be fun. You would have a lot of big time brand name games with Notre Dame and everybody else. We also don't lose the national thing. You have a lot of the Big Ten teams in the Northeast, our cluster in the Midwest. And then you're going to have the LA market too. You're going to have USC out there. That's a big deal that made me a lot more open to the Big Ten when they got USC, because you don't have to worry about losing that game then. If Notre Dame had to, it would be a good deal with good money, good games. It would just be a different way to do it.
Yes. And I'm not going to say that the Big Ten is like a bad conference. For the most part, I think it's like a weak conference. Like there's not as much competition. Like because Michigan, it's only Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State, the only three really great teams.
Yeah, I agree.
Other than that, I think Michigan. First of all, I just want to talk about that just real quick. Okay, I see that their schedule is on the top 25 toughest list.
Yeah, for high schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Ann Arbor County or whatever dump county that school is in. Ann Arbor County. I don't even know where it is, whatever. Yeah, of toughest high schools. They don't play anybody till November 11th. Give me a break.
I know. They had like four easy games from the start, like four home games to start. Like,
yeah.
So I just think that the Big Ten's this week, but for the most part, I mean, that's why Michigan and Ohio State, in my opinion, get in easier or get in most of the time, is because they don't really play anybody like us. I mean, I think we play like the toughest schedule.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Michigan has structured their schedule on purpose this way. It is not random. They have backed out of Power 5 non-conference game contracts with this path in mind of literally making it the non-conference as easy as it could be. And they know the setup, and they know they're not going to be penalized for a weak schedule as long as they succeed within it. They have backed out of contracts with Power 5 teams they already agreed to eliminate some of those challenges. And then we're going to see what happens. The big deal is Notre Dame has something to say about Michigan and Ohio State this year. What happens between us and Ohio State isn't just going to dictate our year. It's going to dictate theirs too. So Notre Dame actually has a say in what happens here. Beat Ohio State and send them struggling through the year. I like that.
First of all, like I'd rather see Ohio State beat. I want to see Ohio State beat Michigan this year.
Yeah,
because
me
then
too.
That makes they won't call Marcus Freeman, and that would just be absolute disaster if they decided.
But
the things that Marcus Freeman is doing at Notre Dame.
Here's the other thing I don't know. I don't know how real this is. The heat on Ryan Day, is that just fan heat on Twitter? Or is the administration mad at Ryan Day saying you're not allowed to lose to Michigan? Like that, I don't know. I don't know how they work. Is it just Twitter people that are like, you lose to Michigan a couple or three times in a row, you're out of here? I don't know the disconnect of how real that pressure is on the inside. I don't know that answer.
Right. I just don't know if he's going to be like on the hot seat.
Yeah. I don't know that. And here's the other thing. Here's the other thing, dude. It doesn't even have to be him officially on the hot seat. He might just get sick of all the other people that want him on the hot seat and go, I don't need this. Find me an NFL team. I don't need this BS pressure every day. Right?
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I just I just don't want that to happen though. Like, I don't want him to be on the hot seat after. Like, I want Freeman as long as, I want Freeman at least. I think he could stay at least like 10 years.
We'll see.
He's successful, of course.
We'll see. Yeah, it depends what happens. And if he feels like he's supported, then I could definitely see that. But hey, man, thanks for the call. You got anything you want to get off your mind? Your last thought here before the long weekend? What you got to end with?
I just want to tell people, let Marcus Freeman do his job,
Yeah.
Everybody's all complaining and freaking out about the whole people decommitted, people transferring.
One of the T-shirts I'm making.
That's just what happened.
Listen, one of the T-shirts I'm making, I'm building out a new merch store, and nothing I do is normal. So I'm coming up with T-shirts with sayings and stuff. One of them literally just says, let Freeman cook, with a big shamrock in the middle of it. And that is my main message. Let Freeman cook. And that is it, with the shamrock. And it says everything I want to get across.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Yeah. I just think Marcus Freeman, as long as we let him do his job, he's going to.
The effort's never going to be an issue.
I think he's going to figure it out.
Yeah, the effort's never going to be an issue. He genuinely loves his mission here at Notre Dame, and I love it. So let the man work. Listen, man, I want you to not work and have a relaxing 3-day weekend, and then give me a call next week when we're live again, all right?
All righty. Sounds good, man.
Thanks a lot, man. You have a great weekend. You take care. Thank you for checking in. I appreciate it. 574, he's holding down South Bend, Indiana. T-Rex. $20 holler from a T-Rex. Ohio State gets torched at home. USC goes down by double digits as well. Clemson will be a dogfight, but the Irish find a way. 12-0. Looking forward to beating Kelly in the playoff. Cash moves everything around me. T-Rex, you got a lot going on there, man. You got a lot going on there. Look at all the ground we covered there. So we torch Ohio State at home. USC goes down by double digits. I mean, now we're cooking with gasoline, people. Now we're cooking. Wow, that is a lot. There was a couple other things I wanted to hit. Here's another $5 holler that I appreciate from the Beefeater. Does Newt Rockne drink his vinegar and water from the nozzle? Check this out. Listen to my response to this. James Brothers says, capital letters, you know it's important. Kelly landed a 5-star rush and his 24 class is ranked 5th. By Kelly landed, you mean a guy picked LSU. There's a big difference. There's a big difference between the way you have to recruit Notre Dame and LSU. And so, technically Kelly landed half of the LSU class every year is going to LSU if Weekend at Bernie's is the head coach. It isn't going to matter. Don't you all get it? That's a part of the reason that job appealed to Kelly so much? It's because he knew that half of those good guys were going to want to go there anyways. It's a totally different recruiting effort required. It is. Good for him. And I will mention that if you want to rub this in and say that his class is ranked 5th, well, ours is ranked 4th. Big deal. And on signing day, it'll drop to 14th. So I'm not that happy about it. I mean, I'm happy now, but I'm not going to be happy when it drops like a rock on signing day. I am so sick of that. I hate that, but it happens every time. It happens every time. There was something else I wanted to mention. Where was it? Where was it? I lost track of my thing here, where we were at. Maybe I forgot about it altogether. Never mind. 937. Uh-oh. This might tie right into what we've been talking about. Am I right?
Yes. Hey, John, it's your favorite Buckeye fan. How are you?
Oh, man. I hate to admit I have a favorite Buckeye fan at all, but you are him. I don't like admitting it, but you are him. If I got to have one, you're it. Okay?
Awesome.
All right. Wait. All right.
Well,
let me ask this. I'm asking you this right out of the gate. This is a key point of all this discussion and dynamic. Is the pressure on Ryan Day real, or is that fan social media stuff? Or do the powers that be at Ohio State, are they also putting that pressure on as far as you don't get to lose to Michigan 3 times in a row? How real is it versus a social media fan thing? What do you think as an Ohio State guy?
So this is what I think. I think it's real from the fans. I think the administration has it on a low boil. But if he loses this year to Michigan and then he loses next year, everybody, the fan and all of the administration are on the same page. He will be gone. He cannot lose to Michigan twice in a row at home.
Yeah.
Also, I'll say this: John Harbaugh, this is going to be his best team next year that he's probably ever had.
Yeah, I agree with that. They're getting there's experience there. Yeah, it all kind of did come together, and their recruiting's taken an uptick. And I hate reporting that, but it's accurate, and I got to be true. It's a true story. It has. I hate it. I just hate it.
The secret sauce with Michigan has been 2 things in the last 2 years. They have done a phenomenal job of recruiting linemen out of the transfer portal. They have just done a phenomenal job of that, and it's completely helped their team. The other part, getting Cade McNamara was a key part of that. Now he's at Iowa, but him starting that at Michigan and kind of the grittiness of doing a run first type of schemes and not make. He was a guy that wouldn't make mistakes. Now he wouldn't make big plays, and that's why they went with the other guy. But he never made a mistake. And then the other thing that really shot them off is having that 1 year breather where they were terrible in the COVID year with the Ohio State team. Ohio State, after that season, half their team left. Almost everybody that would have played against Michigan that year, that was an underclassman, didn't play. And so we had all these juniors and seniors that had never played Michigan. And going into that game, they didn't realize what it was. So that was the perfect storm for what's happened the last 2 years.
Yeah, I just think I don't know, man. There's a lot on the line. There's a lot on the line.
Yep.
And what do you make of, I have seen people write and talk about this, that the way Michigan set up is particularly favorable to be able to challenge Ohio State. Like what they're good at kind of hit Ohio State in some weak spots that maybe they didn't even know were weak. And I don't know, but it 3 in a row, you can't have 3 in a row. You guys are going to lose your minds. Yeah. 3 in a row to them. And I hate them too. I want you to win that game too. Whether you beat us or we beat you, I want you to beat them. Either way.
I would push back a little bit on that. And the idea, I think it's more between the ears. I would push back in the sense that look at what we did against Georgia. Georgia, in my opinion, is a better version of Michigan. And we really should have beat them. If they wouldn't have knocked out our best receiver, we would have beat them. So I think it's partially between the ears, honestly. So it's kind of like what happened with Ohio State and Michigan over the last 20 years. There were some years where Michigan had a better team by far, and they lost the game because it was all between the ears.
Yeah.
And they made a bunch of mistakes in games that they shouldn't have lost.
Listen, as much as I am a Notre Dame guy and the Michigan, Ohio State, like that, the pure, genuine football hate that exists there excites me. Like that is what this is all about, is like, we don't like you at all. You don't like us at all. It is real, like that intensity. And then it does become a mentality of I'm going to kill you or you're going to kill me, or I'm pushing you around, you're pushing me around. When you get into a game like that with those emotions, it does become a lot mental. You got to have the players, but who's in that right winning mindset? It makes me think of like Lou Holtz and the way he used to motivate Notre Dame to play Miami or Florida State or whatever. Like that mentality, who could get in that kill zone? You know what I mean?
Right. And that's one thing that you have to say, Urban Meyer, he did a great job. You know, that guy created, werewolves out there ready to pounce. And
dude, this is hilarious. Look at
the big game.
Caller, look at this. The Hart Foundation types. This guy's breaking us all into a little Big Ten football so we become accustomed to it for when we join. That's what happens. When I pull up an Ohio State guy, that's what it becomes. Big Ten propaganda.
I love it.
Me too.
One good thing since we last talked, which was Saturday, the game's been announced for 7:30. So I think that's a big deal for NBC and Notre Dame, and hopefully that's a really good sign to you guys getting the contract that you want with them. So I just wanted to mention that, and then talk a little bit about recruiting. So
hey, wait, one more thing on Michigan. One more thing on Michigan.
Go ahead.
As if their schedule, you're talking about when these games are scheduled, as if their actual schedule wasn't a joke. They're missing the blackout Penn State thing. That's not even a night game when they go to Penn State. So they play one big game before you, and it's November 11th, and they don't even have to play it at night. It's a day game. They're getting every possible conceivable schedule break is being handed to them.
Michigan, so it's crazy to me. ESPN can rank them ahead of Ohio State's schedule. Ohio State has to play the game, and supposedly they're ranked higher at Michigan, and then they play at Notre Dame, and they share an opponent with Penn State. Can you tell me a single team on Michigan's schedule that's near as good as Notre Dame? And then I would argue tell me a single team on Michigan's schedule that's near as good as what Wisconsin's going to be next year.
Yeah.
And we got to go to their place. So it's just insane that they're, Phil Steele, I think his schedule puts Ohio State ranked 9th, and that takes the prior year winning percentages and puts them all together. It would be a joke. I bet on his. I've been trying to look and I can't find it, but Michigan has got to be in like the 60s.
Yeah, I would think. And so I'm sorry I got you off track. Get into the recruiting stuff. I'd love to hear what you think.
Yeah. So here's what you got to look at. So right now Notre Dame's average player ranking on 247 is 90.8. So what you have to try to do here is you have to get that Justin Scott kid out of Chicago. I think it's going to be tough at this point from what I've been reading. I don't see an official visit this spring. He's going to Miami. He's going to Michigan. He's going to Ohio State.
Yeah.
Or this early summer in June. But you have to get guys like that. I saw that they just got a crystal ball for a kid that's a defensive tackle, which kind of, that raises my eyebrows. That they're getting a crystal ball for another defensive tackle. And he's like ranked 900th in the country. So he's kind of a low 3-star. And that'll bring down that rating lower as far as average player ranking. That's the key. So if you can get an average player ranking of above 93, that's when you're playing with the big dogs. If you have an average, and honestly, if you look at history, 93s, you really started needing those around 2000. Before that, everybody was, for whatever reason, the landscape was more, actually more around the 91.5 to 92 area. And, occasionally you saw like Alabama hit a 93.5. But now it's just the way the riches are going. You have to hit a 93 to play with the big dogs. A 90.8 right now, if you look at prior years, unless you get like 30 kids like Oregon did last year, they got 29 kids. That's putting you like at around 13, 14. 2019 Notre Dame had a 90.7 and they finished 16th in the rankings. So you gotta get at least, Michigan right now, they have 17 players, but they're a 91.5 player ranking. So, when this is all said and done, Michigan won't be a top 5 class unless they get a Justin Scott, unless they get a couple of these top guys. But if they keep trending on their player rankings, it's going to be, you're going to see Alabama all of a sudden jump up. They always do.
Yeah, always.
They're low right now, but
always
at the end. I will say this. I don't think Notre Dame's top-end players are going to go anywhere else. I think, if you're Carr, Notre Dame is a top 10 job as a quarterback, no matter who the quarterback is. Look at the landscape of college football right now. I would pretty much that's one of the best places to land as far as depth and as far as everything else. So I just don't foresee him leaving for anywhere else. And
and that would be
that would help. I don't know.
Yeah, you got to get both of those guys to stay, and the big reason is, like of all the best Notre Dame players we've had lately, like what they haven't been is wide receivers and quarterbacks. So I think it's very, very important that they stick, and a part of it is for that reason. That we need more elite guys on that side of the ball at those positions. You've had these two for a long time. You got to keep them and then build on that. But with those as your anchors.
The other question you had was, what would you say about a few point loss to Ohio State? And I was thinking about that.
That's going to be tough for us, man. Tough for us with the moral victory thing. I spent a decade dealing with moral victories with Kelly. Nobody has an appetite for that anymore. They don't.
Well, I was thinking about this as a narrative perspective for college football in general. And I think if you lost like 28-32, that's super respectable around the country. And, I think that means you scored some points and your defense was good enough to hold Ohio State down. Now, if you lost to Ohio State 45 to let's say like 40 or 39 or something like that, then the question is, okay, is Freeman, is his defense really as good as what people say it is?
Yeah, and then you know what else you're going to get?
Questions about that.
You know what else you're going to get? You're going to get, is Al Golden better suited for retirement or staying in the NFL? And you're going to get the Al Washington questions. Like, that brings a lot into play if the defense steps back that much.
Yeah, and if it's a low-scoring game, then everybody is going to kind of say the same thing. About the offense still.
Right. Then it's going to be, I thought you brought Armin in here to light up the scoreboard. Yeah, you can't win unless you win. You can't win unless you win. Maybe it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the only way that you could get have it be a respectable narrative is it's like 25-32 or something like that.
Yeah, but man, I'm just telling you.
I think that's pretty respectable.
People are not into that anymore. We got sold the respectable close losses all through Kelly. People blew smoke up you, telling you, yeah, we lost to Georgia both years, but at least we didn't get blown out, so everything's great. Like, people are just done with that. So you got to beat you guys, and then maybe we'll be on a different profile. Anything else, my friend? I hope you have some fun planned this weekend.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess one other thing I just want to say also, it's not just Memorial Day. Happy Pentecost to all the Catholics out there. And have a great weekend.
There you go. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Even though the chat is giving you a hard time for being a mole on the inside, and they don't like that I give you this kind of time. They don't like that I treat you nicely. I'm catching some heat on our relationship here, buddy. And they still think you're going to kill me and cut me up and put me in a bag in the river if I see you for the Ohio State game in town.
Oh, we got to get that together. You got my number. Give me a call. We'll try to get that all worked out.
Dude, if I disappear, if I drive off the road into a lake and they don't find me, they're looking for you because this is all out. If I never come back, they're going right for you, 937. They're going to check the basement.
Sure.
Oh, it's going to be great. All right, man. Have a good weekend. Stay safe. Have fun. Drink a few beers.
Have a good one. Go Big Ten. Go Buckeyes.
Yeah, no. I'll let you do it. But no, we always got to sneak that in at the end. Dude, you guys are giving me a hard time. Drunk Vigo saying I Donnie Brasco'd him. They're saying this is the Always Big Ten show. Why do I give this guy time? No offense, but it would get a little boring here if every single phone call I took was the same pro Notre Dame angle. Does no one else see that? Like, I just think that would be boring. If every single call was a Notre Dame lover, I feel like I would get a little bored. So if I could get somebody else in the mix that isn't a jerk, but doesn't have the Notre Dame loyalty, I'll give them some time. Jeez, tough crowd. We got a $10 holler. Andrew Gilmore, thanks for all the off-season content. Enjoy the vacation. For the Ohio State callers, stop complaining about the schedule. Playing on the road is an aberration. OSU rarely goes on the road in the non-con. That's true. That is true. But geez, man, people giving me a hard time on the Ohio State guy. Man. Oh, what else? Take off your shirt, Johnny, and show us your Ohio State tattoo. Nobody wants to see my skeleton frame without a shirt on, okay? Trust me. An Ohio State tattoo. Yeah, it's not even the one I have. It's not even the Ohio State logo. It's a tattoo of Bucknut's face. That's what I put on my arm. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What the heck is with the phone line? Come on, baby. There we go. 512, I'm talking to you.
Yep. Yo, what's up, John? It's Cody in the chat.
What's going on, Cody? What's on your mind, man? You've been soaking all this in. What do you make of this discussion? What's on your mind?
Well, I was kind of thinking about some things that you said about Marcus Freeman possibly like leaving to go to Ohio State. And it's like, dude, if he wins here, if he wins at Notre Dame, he's not going anywhere.
But wait. Like all right, wait. Here's the issue I have with this, though. The issue I have with this is if Notre Dame wins a title, like I'm very uncomfortable starting the discussion with us winning a title and what happens after that. I'm very uncomfortable starting there because I think the odds of that happening this year are less than 1%. So I am uncomfortable starting with the presumption of something that I think the likelihood is 0.00% for this year. So that's a little awkward for me to say. But bigger picture, I don't want to be in a situation where Ryan Day wears out his welcome and everybody's frustrated there. Freeman hones his skills here. And when he's really ready to be a sharp head coach, he slides over there and they give him all the resources we're not able to give him. That's my problem. But I don't think it's going to be, if we win a title, what does he do then? If he wins a title, that means he's getting enough talent to win a title. There's no reason to go anywhere else. So that kind of eliminates that problem if you win a title, because it proves Notre Dame's not holding him back. So that would eliminate some of the negative stuff that would be in his head that would make him otherwise interested in going somewhere else. That's my thought.
Yeah. Well, also, too, I mean, whenever he took the job, like he kind of knew some of the, quote, limitations that he was getting, right? I mean, this is not like a surprise. Like, he gets that. He's a Notre Dame guy.
Yes.
He's a grinder. He's a hustler.
Yeah.
Unlike Kelly, who's not. And that's fine. You don't have to hustle. You can go to LSU and you can sit there and have guys come to you. Great.
Yep.
The guy at USC, same thing. He just buys players.
Dude,
he can win that way.
I don't judge.
The pros.
I don't judge Kelly badly for his move. It's brilliant because Kelly can recruit with the same amount of vigor or lack thereof at LSU and get better results out of it because it's just a different structure. You got a 200-mile net you could recruit with, and you don't got to get on that jet. Good for Kelly. He found a place that matches the way he likes to do it. He could get better results out of it. Good for Kelly. Great exit strategy. I credit the guy for that.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Can sit there and
exactly.
And go X's and O's. Now, maybe Freeman has a little X's and O problem, which might explain Stanford and Marshall. But he can work that out. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, okay, sorry. With time, but as long as you're recruiting, if we can land a number 5 class, which right now we're number 4, so that can be good.
Yeah. I just worry that in the back of my mind, I just want to make sure Freeman feels like he's getting the genuine support he thinks he needs to be able to compete. If he doesn't, that's where things turn. And then you're not fully bought in. And Kelly went through some of that. It just can't be that. Like, he can't feel like I'm trying my ass off and they're not letting me do what I need. That's where the agent starts fielding calls. And I want to avoid that. I love Freeman's effort. He is genuine in a way most coaches are not. And I want to see him succeed at Notre Dame. I don't want him to do the training wheels here and then go somewhere else and then win. I want to see it work here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let me ask you too. Do you think that he's a Notre Dame guy? Like he can embrace what Notre Dame is and he runs with it and that could propel him to success like Lou Holtz?
Yeah.
Or do you think that's not really
a
thing?
Here's what I think. You actually bring up something really good, and I bring this up a lot. The head coaches that end up winning elitely at Notre Dame all have something in common. And one thing I've noticed is all of the guys who got over the hump at Notre Dame realized it was not about them and their ego. It was about Notre Dame first and foremost. All the coaches that won at Notre Dame knew it was bigger than them, and it wasn't about their ego. It was about the Notre Dame spirit and all that. All of those guys that won big at Notre Dame knew that. They knew that, and they became big names, but it wasn't like forced. It wasn't all about them. And Freeman has that. Freeman gets the mission. He knows that it's about Notre Dame and the values, and he's so humble. That works at Notre Dame. Kelly was the opposite. Kelly was about protecting his ego. It was all about his ego, his reputation, his ego. He wanted to make sure you knew where he stood, and that's why he told you. They're making me shop down a different aisle. That's why Kelly told us that. Is so it protected his ego for us to not blame him when you couldn't get top guys. Like, the guys who don't make it about them have a chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally agree. It's just, for him, it's just a job. Just, at the highest level, but it's still, just another spot. So that's pretty much all I had on my mind, brother.
Yeah, listen, man, I love Marcus Freeman is so rare, though he is so genuine and just is so respectful and cognizant of everything at every moment and really tries to put touch and thought into everything he does. It's so genuine. It's such a great Notre Dame fit. I want to see that kind of guy win here because it is a good fit in that regard. And I want to see him rewarded. And he is working. I know if he doesn't get over the hump, it's not going to be lack of effort. The guy is working hard for us every day.
Yeah. I don't really want to be too much of a homer, but I'm feeling really good about next year. We got the quarterback.
Yeah, it's fine to feel good about next year. And the quarterback, it's the most important individual position in sports, and I think we upgraded big time. You might see a Notre Dame offense that can run it and pass it. What would that be like, my friend?
Oh, my gosh.
Could you imagine?
Out of control.
Could you imagine being able to do both? And when I say pass it, I don't mean throwing it to the tight end as the bailout because that's all you got. I mean like a real passing game with more stuff going on.
Yeah, we are loaded at that position at the wide receiver spot. Yeah, it's this is going to be a little bit different. I got pretty big expectations.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's fair. And but I just think Hartman doesn't have to be at Heisman level to have a major impact here. Like, he doesn't have to be at Heisman level for this still to look way, way better than everything we're used to. I am thrilled to see that. I'm excited. I want to see a new look offense here. So I don't know, man.
We might score too much. We might score so much we got to say, hey, settle down, or defense needs a break.
Yeah.
It might be a different problem.
I beg to have that problem. I truly do. But I think you're trending up there. But this is a big, big year, and it's going to shoot the arrow of where this is all headed in a certain direction. And then you enter that new playoff era. Like, Notre Dame's got to get itself right this year and position itself great for that playoff next iteration, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you heard any news on that Big Ten NBC debacle?
Nope. I haven't heard news other than they're arguing about the back end of that deal and where did that $70 million go, and we have to divide it up and pay it back. I've heard that some schools didn't like that, but I don't know. But I never heard a resolution or what. I don't know about that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I heard there was an issue there, but I still think they'll work that out, and they're going to be in the second best spot behind the SEC. So I still think they're in a pretty comfortable spot TV-wise.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
So.
Anything else, my friend?
All right, John.
Hey, thanks for touching base.
Sir.
I want you to get some sunshine, have a couple cold ones, cook out over the weekend, and rejuvenate yourself. And then we'll be back here. We'll be back here next week.
All right, good. When does your next show start? I know you're going to be off.
Yeah, we're going to be gone. So then I'm going to leave, and then we have the weekend. I'll drive back Monday. I'll be driving. So then Tuesday I'll put a video out, and then Wednesday morning we'll do the live show again.
Cool. All right, man. Well, be careful and be safe.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot. Have a good weekend. Take care now.
Are you too?
Oh, bye-bye. Man, you guys are a riot. I don't know what's gotten into you. I think, are some of you started drinking for the holiday early? Some of this stuff's funny. Oh, and you know what else? I was on the phone with somebody and I forgot. Dr. John jumped in here and said something and I didn't get to it. Dr. John, I want you to have a good relaxing weekend. I don't want you to think I forgot about you in the chat. Dude, you guys, you're not going to bait me into getting mad about it's too funny. I know what you're doing and you're trying to get me to yell about it. It's not going to work. Look at this. Unbelievable. Beefeater ND08. Is John taking his official visit to Ohio State this weekend? Imagine that. Imagine podcaster recruiting and they look at your film to see how you act and if they like your show. And then you go to the different schools and get recruited and pitch them what you could do. I love it. Oh my God. That's really funny. That's really funny. I'm not even going to let me get mad. Oh man. Yeah. Crying belly. Sorry, Dr. John. He was going to show your comment, but wanted the Buckeyes guy on instead. Always Buckeye. I've heard it all. You guys are unbelievable. There's one guy that isn't horrible to talk to. Unbelievable. James Brothers. Have a great, safe weekend, John. Love what you do. Keep up the great work and go Irish. I appreciate it. Yeah, look at Jay Lehman. John, you're a 5-star, but since you podcast for ND, you're a 3-star. Jay, that's beautiful. Just like the recruiting rankings. Everybody's a 5-star and they pick Notre Dame, and then the next time the rankings go down, they drop 100 spots. Beefeater, we're ending the show. That's it. Nope. That's it. Beefeater, I'm not engaging with that. We're done. Everybody, I'm dead serious. I'm not even going to go there because this is going to devolve. I can't believe Beefeater just did this to me. It's about the most offensive thing that could ever be told. I'm done with this show. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for the calls. Yeah, John's a snake. All a part of the plan, you guys. The last 8 years, pumping blood vessels, yelling about Notre Dame not being good enough. And it was all a ruse to join the Big Ten. Unbelievable. I want you all to have a good weekend. I want you to drink some beer, be with your family, be respectful, be responsible. Keep in mind why Memorial Day exists. I want all that to happen. Everybody, enjoy the long weekend. Then the next big thing is 4th of July, and then we get into football mode. It's going to be here before you know it. Everybody, be safe. Have a good Memorial Day, and we'll see you on the other side next week. I'm going to have content coming out over the next few days. It isn't going to be a content vacuum. It just can't be live. I'll have stuff going. Have a good one, everybody. Unbelievable, this last comment. Absolutely unbelievable.